to start things off, we have Norm McCall. Norm has been a longtime member of the RASC London Center and has been a past president, vice president, and is currently their secretary. And he's joining us online from London.
Okay, well, thank you for the introduction. As I said, my name is Norman McCall. I joined the society when I was 57 years of age. And thank you for the opportunity to share my hobby, knowledge, and my experience as an amateur astronomer. I got into this rather late in life. At age 60, I decided, a little secret for you guys out there in my category, or maybe females as well, it might apply. At age 60, I decided to buy myself my first telescope, and I classified it as a early retirement present. Although I wasn't retiring, but I thought, why wait till you're 65 before you buy yourself a retirement present? So that's how I managed to get around that one. And then in 2017, approximately, or 16, I started planning. And then I believe it was in 2017, I built my first observatory, which is the one I'm discussing here. I'm not showing how it was constructed. I'm showing how it is being used. And it took me about 2+ years before I was able to do what I was trying to do, which was do electronically assisted astronomy using cameras for live viewing of deep sky objects. So that was really my goal and what I was trying to do. So let's move on from the second slide. All right. Okay, so the first question you're going to ask is, what is an urban deep sky observatory? First of all, this is a picture of my observatory. You'll see the pier mounted is mounted in cement, and there's a shed there. And if you notice carefully, there's 2 tracks on either side because the shed rolls off of the telescope to expose it to the sky. And I'll describe why I did it this way shortly. So what is an urban deep sky observatory? It's an astronomical observatory located in an urban environment in which city lighting interferes with and prevents visual observing. All right. Therefore, an urban observatory uses a large aperture telescope to capture a lot of light. It also uses a high-performance motorized go-to mount capable of precision computer guiding to accurately track objects at high magnification. Last of all, it also has a specialty high-resolution thermally cooled camera capable of making long exposure images. And it utilizes a computer software designed to filter, stack, and display capture deep sky images in real time for display on a 4K monitor. Okay, so what is a deep sky observatory used for? I made up this little banner, and it depicts, you can use it to observe the sun, you can use it to observe comets, the moon, galaxies, stars, etc. All right. All of these have been observed through my setup. So the question is, well, why would someone want to build a backyard urban observatory? I do live in the city of London near the outskirts, but it's not quite as bad as Toronto, by the way, in terms of light pollution. So what's the reason for building it? So this picture here depicts what I call first sunrise over my SkyThrall observatory, which was completed in 2017. And you may say, why was it called SkyThrall? It's called SkyThrall because it's sky enthralling. And I just came up with that name myself. With the backyard observatory, the equipment, so what's the advantages of having a backyard observatory? Well, first of all of the equipment is set up and skylined and ready for instant use. If you don't have an observatory, you have to haul everything out of the basement or wherever you've got it located, haul it into the backyard, find power or make it work. And next thing you know, you have to take it all back down, and it's quite an inconvenient chore. SkyThrall meanwhile, SkyThrall can be opened and operating within approximately 10 minutes. If clouds blow in, it can be shut down and closed up in 10 minutes. And the convenience of use maximizes my financial investment because it's always there ready to go. And there's no need to travel outside of the city with the time involved to go to a dark sky site or the club's observatory site because it's all there in your backyard. So this is a little overview of the observatory. These are some early pictures. There's my telescope with the shed over the telescope and mount, and for when it's being stored. The floor is insulated and the walls are just not officially insulated. And that is what it looks like inside. It's a custom built roll off the shed observatory, which has several advantages. It keeps out the vermin, namely the skunks or anything else that comes walking through your backyard at night in the dark, keeps them out. And in the wintertime, it keeps me toasty and warm in the winter. For those of the roll off the roof, you absolutely freeze when you're sitting there exposed to the elements with your beautiful telescope. Disadvantage is you can, I wouldn't say you put on shorts, but you certainly can enjoy it in comfort. You close the door and everything is connected to the telescope. It's pier mounted and skylined, a go-to telescope. The setup is designed for urban viewing of planetary and deep sky objects. And it uses state-of-the-art electronically assisted, which is EAA technology. That consists of a high-resolution 4K thermally cooled dedicated astronomy color camera. And it uses advanced computer software applications to support live stacking and real-time image processing. The system is optionally configurable with eyepieces for visual observation if you wish. All right, let's take a little look at the telescope. The telescope I am using, I consider it, the heart of the setup is the telescope. And I consider this Celestron 11 Edge Schmidt-Cassegrain to be a beautiful piece of optical engineering. For example, you see the diagram on the left, you see the telescope itself, right? I have to make my mouse work properly. There's a guide scope on top for those that are not familiar with things like this. The camera comes out the back at the bottom, and there's a filter wheel, and the optical train is here. And everything is connected in through a USB hub, which is underneath, connected to my computer. So the telescope itself is an SCC, which is Schmidt-Cassegrain, which is designed for both visual observation and for imaging with an astronomical CCD camera. You will notice that for example, there's at the front here, you will see a Schmidt-Cassegrain corrector plate, which delivers color-corrected chroma-free images. All right. Next, the edge corrector lens, which is located here. The light comes in through the front, bounces off the concave mirror up to the M2, the secondary mirror, and then down through the center and goes through a corrector, which provides a distortion free flat field across the whole of a full frame camera. All right. And with minimum amount of distortion or practically no distortion. Okay, the focal length of the telescope is 2800 millimeters, which is 2.8 meters, but it is folded up as shown to make the device small. And it provides a high magnification, and the trade-off at this optical focal length is a narrower field of view. The optical aperture is 11 inches or 280 millimeters, and therefore it captures approximately 2,000 times the light of an eye. Hence, you're able to see objects that you can't visually see with your eyes. Okay, so what are the features of the equipment setup? First of all, it's sky aligned, as already said, and computer control go-to with a motorized mount, which enables the user to instantly select and move directly to the targets. A guide scope ensures, which is located on top, ensures accurate tracking of the mount. Multi-bandpass optical filters, which I showed you are located here, minimize the effect of urban light pollution. The color CCD astronomy camera is optimized for capturing planetary and deep sky objects, and that is located here. It is thermally cooled with a deep well, and this is the camera I was using at the time, which had a deep well of 63,000 kilo electrons. It has a large pixel at 4.6 micromillimeters and allows for a long time exposure for capture of more starlight. The equipment specifications, briefly for those that are interested, is a C11. It has an optical focal length of 2800 millimeters, which is f10, and it also can operate at that is a 0.7, not 7.0. 0.7, no, 7, that is correct, 7.0 at 1960 millimeters. And it uses a 0.7 focal reducer. Okay, and that will increase the field of view. The mount is a Celestron CGXL Equatorial Go-To. The current camera that I was using in this picture at this time was a ZWO ASI 294 MC Pro. And those are the specs that are there. It utilizes a guide scope, which has a 70 millimeters in diameter with a focal length of 400 millimeters, operating at f5.7. The guide camera is a QHY guide camera with 6 megapixel resolution, high speed, low noise, and a QE quantum efficiency of 78%. It used the 5-position filter field with Urban Sky multi-bandpass filters. Okay, so let's just look at the comparison of a field of view of two cameras. This is my first camera, which I'm using in this presentation because it's based on older images, is a ASI 294 MC Pro. So if you were to try and take a picture of the moon, this is the field of view in red that you would see. My new camera, which I purchased recently, is an ASI 2400 MC Pro, which is a full frame camera. And so if you took a same picture of the moon, you would both have a higher resolution and you would get the full moon in the field of view. That explains how field of views can vary based on the camera that you are using. Okay, this is my basic computer system. It consists of 2 monitors, 4K monitors. The setup here is probably different ones. There's one with 4K monitor and a regular HD monitor, and that's how I operate it. It's running Windows 10 on an Intel i7 multi-core computer. It utilizes a fast 2 terabyte solid state drive, and you must have a high-speed USB 3 ports. In this case, I have a specialized card to support that, and dual high-resolution monitors. The computer controls the Skyline mount and runs the software applications, which include PhD2 for auto-guiding. Stellarium SkyMap software application enables the user, which you see on the screen right here. This is Stellarium, and you can select any target you wish, and assuming it's in the field of in the sky available to see, not hidden behind a tree or maybe your house or some other object, and it will immediately go to that object. And so it's controlling the telescope as a go-to. Okay, you don't need to enter any coordinates or anything like that. It's pick and go. It uses on the right-hand monitor here. You see SharpCap running, which allows for live stacking of time-lapse exposures to enable viewing of faint objects. Okay, the Stellarium Planetarium software application. It uses a go-to plugin used to control the telescope mount and move the mount to the targets on the computer. So as you see in this picture on the left, there's Stellarium running, and you will notice here, this might be the target I am aiming for, and it would immediately go to that. And Stellarium also provides you with a sample image of what that object happens to look like. In this case, it's the Eagle Eye Nebula. Of course, that is not an object that I am actually seeing, but that is an image that they've inserted into the program to let you, as a teaser, to let you see what the target looks like. All right. So here is a running the SharpCap software. And this is a 90-second exposure of Comet C2918 Y4 Atlas. And you can see the comet right here in the center, all right? Naturally, for those that don't know, it doesn't blaze across the field of view, but it is moving ever so slowly across the field of view, and that was a 90-second exposure. All right. The software application supports image and video capture, live image stacking, and enhancements for deep sky objects, including planetary nebula. And these are things you can see: star clusters and distant galaxies, etc. And it uses video capture for possibly the sun, the moon, planets, asteroids, and comets. The auto guiding software is an application that runs continuously after you've after you've arrived at the telescope has gone to the target, and it will cause the mount to stay and telescope to stay carefully tracking the targeted object. All right. So now I'm going to give you a bunch of samples of astro images that I have collected using my setup. Okay. So let's start off with some solar image showing sunspots. So this was a capture taken during a live event. It was actually with Boy Scouts, if I recall, from Ottawa. Someone wanted to give a present, do something for them. They came in contact with us, and I did a live afternoon presentation showing this image. And this is the very image taken on February 21 on my C11. And it has a solar filter, of course. Now, you'll notice this for those that are not too familiar, but hopefully these here are the sunspots. All right. I do not have a specialized camera that will make it even more enhanced. Those are dedicated scopes and cameras that literally cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I sometimes have got the funny question: how do I know you're telling the truth? Maybe you're just making all of this up. So this image here is on the same day from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And in this image, which is taken by a totally different kind of a camera, and it's even got more detail, but you see the same thing. The orientation is slightly different. Maybe it's a different time of day. I'm not exactly too sure. I suspect that is what it is. And you can see the same sunspots that I was showing the Boy Scouts. Or the Scouts. They may not have been Boy Scouts. All right. This here is a live stack image. And as I recall, this was taken with the same camera at a 4K resolution pixels of Galaxy M65. And you will see a satellite trail, I believe, where it's a jet. I'm not too sure. I think it's a satellite trail going through the image, which was captured. And as I recall, I think there were 90-second exposures. Let me just see. It's right on the screen here. The speed, no, 50-second exposure time. But I was doing live stacking. And you can see here, by the way, this was three stacked frames. There was 0 ignored, and the total exposure was 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So maybe I'm not reading it right, because 3 times is 4 minutes. So maybe the time I can't quite read it over here is 90 seconds. Yes, the exposure is 90 seconds. And this is after three stacked images that the software stacked. And that was the view I was receiving. Okay, now we go to Messier 65 in the Leo constellation. And, oh yeah, this is the same image, I believe, my first stock image of the galaxy. And another early capture was the M65, M66 galaxies in Leo, which happened to be 35 million light years away. And just for those that are less knowledgeable, I would like to highlight the fact that just try to imagine that's so 35 million light years away. So what? Well, it took the light 35 million light years to get to Earth. So that was well before the humans had evolved, if you believe in that, 6.5 million years ago. That was quite a long time ago. And obviously, we don't know what they look like today. We'd have to wait for another 35 million light years to find out. Okay. Now, these images, you may say, well, Norm, they're kind of fuzzy. They're not altogether perfect. Well, I never said I was a professional. I said I was an amateur. Okay, so M651 is a beautiful spiral galaxy, 32 million light years from Earth, and 109 light years in diameter. It is interacting with NGC 5194, a local galaxy. And it has a visual magnitude of 8.4. So in other words, it's fairly bright in the sky, relatively speaking. All right. This live stack was 41 images with 15 seconds exposure, which is a total time of 615 seconds or approximately 10 minutes. Messier 64, I love this one, is what's called the Black or Evil Eye Galaxy. All right, it is shown here in this image, like this, okay? It is a spiral galaxy with a band of absorbing dust. It contains an estimated, grab your seats, 100 billion stars. I don't know how you could ever count that number, but obviously it's an estimate, but 100 billion stars. I don't know, that's stunning. The diameter is only 53,000 light years across. I said light years. It's not miles, it's not kilometers. It is light years across. In the space, things are very large. Okay, it is located only 17 million light years from Earth. So if you want to take a journey there, you better pack a big lunch. It is the blue or visual magnitude of 9.7. So in other words, it's more faint. All right. It was discovered in 1797 by Edward Peugeot. This image is a live stack of 35 images taken at a 60-second exposure, which is 2100 seconds, and divided by 60 to determine the number of minutes. Quite a long exposure. Okay, NGC 7331 is called the Deer Lake group of galaxies, and this is quite an interesting thing. It is a beautiful spiral galaxy located 40 million light years away, just around the corner. And what is interesting, there are 5 or more background galaxies, which are shown here, by the way. Let me just point with where the screen that you're looking at here. There's the main one. Here's these other galaxies are located here, here, and I believe here. I don't remember where the others are located. All right, and those, grab your seats, hold on tight, 294 to 365 billion light years from Earth. It has a visual magnitude of 9 point, the main galaxy, and you see 7331 of the magnitude of 9.48. It was discovered by William Herschel in 1784. Multiple supernova events have been observed in this galaxy. And this image consists of 80 stacked images of 15 seconds, which is essentially about 20 minutes of capture. Okay, let's give you a comparison image. This here was acquired by a professional telescope and obviously a professional image processor. I probably could get better results if I was better at it. And you can see the main galaxy with other galaxies nearby. All right. And here it is here with Stellarium. Stellarium shows you this image of what I was capturing. And the red is the camera that I would be using. And that would show the field of view that I would be capturing. All right. Now we move on to this image, which is NGC 6792, a Bard's spiral galaxy. All right, this was captured by accident. And my friend, for those that know him, is Peter Jedicke. He was online that evening and he had said, no, I'm going, let's have a look at NGC. And he gave me the number. Well, I, of course, being a little bit dyslexic, put in the wrong number. And so we're sitting there waiting for the image to come in. And this galaxy, by the way, is located 219 million, I said million, light years from Earth, and appears very faint in the image just up from the center. So we're dealing with this object right here. So what actually happened is that after about 10 minutes of stacking, I said to Peter, I says, I think I see something. And I could see this galaxy forming in the middle, but I have to realize I was on the wrong galaxy. And we decided to wait for another 10 minutes and to make I think it was a 20-minute capture. This is estimated to be approximately 93,000 light years in diameter, and it has a blue or visual magnitude of 13.4. So that means that it is pretty faint. All right, and hence you can see it very faintly here. I was quite delighted to have made this capture by accident. Okay. This was compiled. I think I was supposed to have said this was discovered by, oh yeah, it was compiled into the catalog in that year, 1888. Okay, my image here consists of 97 stacked images of 15 seconds, which was 24 minutes of time. Okay. And this here is a sample image from the digital sky survey image showing the same thing. The orientation may be different, but it shows you, no, this is 6792. Okay, and there's the location of it. Now we move on to Messier 57, which is the Ring Nebula. This is a very famous target for amateur astronomers. It's a planetary nebula formed by a starburst. The gas is being ionized by the collapsed star in the last stage of its evolution to a white dwarf star. All right. It is located approximately 2,500 light years away in our galaxy. Remember, our galaxy is 100,000 light years across. It is the nebula is 1.3 light years in diameter and has a visual magnitude of 9.7, so it's fairly easy to capture. And the image, the event that caused the nebula where the star collapsed occurred approximately 7,500 years ago. Okay, it was discovered by Charles Messier, a French astronomer, in 1797. Of course, at this time, they really didn't know exactly what they were looking at, by the way. And it took some amount of time before people analyzed this to determine that this was not a physical structure, meaning one solid object. Rather, it was a gas nebula. And that was a very interesting story how that discovery was proved, which was a surprise to everybody. All right. And this image is 47 stacked 15-second images for about 12 minutes of capture time. NGC 2392. This is the Eskimo cloud-faced nebula. And you can see it here. Look carefully, right in the middle of the screen, right here. And this is one of my favorite objects that I have managed to capture. Some say this object resembles a person's head surrounded by a parka hood, hence the term Eskimo Nebula. All right. The Now it's a beautiful double-shelled planetary nebula, meaning there's multiple layers to this nebula. All right, it's located 6,500 light years away in our galaxy. And this is an enlarged image of it to show you. I just enlarged it to give a bit more detail. And you see the shape of it there, looking very carefully at it. It's absolutely brilliant. It is a 0.34 light year in diameter, and it's approximately 10,000 years old, which is the end of the Ice Age, I believe, when it occurred. It was discovered by William Herschel in 1792, and the capture consisted of 34 stacked 15-second images, which is about 8.5 minutes of time. Now let's do an image comparison. This is what I captured. Let's hear the applause, please. Thank you very much. And then this is the image from Wikipedia. I don't know exactly who took it, but this is what I got out of from Wikipedia. And ignoring the color differences, those are just the offsets of the cameras and things like that. And colors are always created by humans, not necessarily what you see with your eyes. All right, of course, you're not seeing it with your eyes, it's on the camera. And this is the two images comparing the two. All right. I think what I did was pretty impressive. Okay, Messier 27, the Dumbbell Nebula, another famous target. Many people have taken hundreds of images of this planetary nebula. It's located 1,227 light years away in our galaxy. It is 1.4 light years in diameter. It's approximately 7,500 years old, and it's expanded to that size. So in other words, the gas and energy is moving very quickly, pushing the material out from the center star. Okay, it was discovered by Charles Messier in 1764, and the image that I captured was 20 stacked 15-second images for a total time of 5 minutes. Second last slide. Messier 16, the Eagle Nebula, is shown here. It's a planetary nebula in an open cluster consisting of approximately 8,000 stars, made famous by a Hubble picture. The core star is 80 solar masses and 1 million times the brightness of the sun. Located 5,700 light years away in our galaxy. There's more details. The gas is light. The gas here is 9.5 light years long and 1.4 light years in diameter. Discovered in 1794, and that's 7 minutes of exposure. And lastly, this is my last image, I believe, which is Messier 92, a globular cluster located in the northern, I spelled it wrong, constellation of Hercules, and is located in our galaxy 27 light years from Earth, apparent magnitude of 6.4, an estimated age of 11 billion years, and a diameter of approximately 109 light years, and a mass of about estimated at 300,000 suns. It was inadvertently discovered by Charles Messier in 1791, and in 1783, William Herschel resolved individual stars. And it was a 16-minute exposure. And that summarizes and completes my presentation.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Norm. Do we have any questions online?
Thank you. We have a few questions that have come online and several comments. Firstly, from Guy Yanez. I really enjoyed Denny's presentation and hope he's doing okay. see, again, Guy Yanis also says, I think the question would be, why wouldn't you build an urban backyard observatory? Eric Brick says, you have some important accessories there, such as the focal reducer to speed things up. Guy Yanis then says, SCT celestrons are great. I would probably keep it long, focal length for planetary, galaxies and planetary nebulae. Would the presenter consider adding a mid-sized refractor to his rig for nebulae? And that's one of our questions.
Well, yeah, everything costs money, and wish I had, could have had. I would also like a Tesla. So yeah, making a joke there, but you can always add on. The thing is, everything you add on creates additional complexity. And it all depends on what you really enjoy doing and what your goal is. But I'm happy with what I have. And it certainly is a possibility for those that are more ambitious than I am.
So our next question comes from Louis R. What was the cost of construction of the observing shed, and how long did it take to build?
Yeah, I did buy the shed. It's off the shelf, off the shelf. You can buy the shed at Home Depot or wherever. That was like $1,200 or something. When you add all the stuff up for the shed, not talking about equipment, I'm talking about the shed itself. Insulated floors, rails. I had to get the rails custom made. I ran a conduit into the house with 2 Ethernet connections, electrical power, cement the posts in the ground that hold the rails, that hold the wood that holds the rails, and all of the other things that go with it, the wood and the interior stuff that you need, like your bench, etc. The total cost, as I recall from the top of my head, I think was $6,500 for the observatory itself. And that includes the stones to finish it off and make it complete.
And that's all for our questions for the speaker.
Okay.